I've put a lot of work in to bury my past over the past couple years. It's taken a lot of effort and a lot of therapists, but I've done a good job of it. Now my current therapist is actually asking me to undo all the hard work I've put in to repress all of it. There's a reason that I repressed everything. Of course, it was this day. It was the day that we put in a plan of action to finally kill Mr. Black. How fitting. Just started raining. It was raining that day too. If I tell you this story from my point of view, it won't have any impact. But if I tell you the story from someone else's, well, it might hit a little bit harder. I should back up a bit. I think it was in August. Yeah. August 3 years ago. I can't tell you the story from my perspective, but I can tell you the story from BB's. So, imagine, if you will, that you're her. You're in a shoddy van. You're being driven to a point to be dropped off by a driver you don't know. They mentioned that they drove for Neela. They felt bad that they're basically the cause that Neela got away from us and decided to leave us on our own. So they offered to do this job for free. In that van is a computer. Kai's on it. Also in the van are your now ex-boyfriend, Danny, and myself. Tensions are high. There's a lot of bad feelings about what happened the night before, but none of it can matter. You hesitantly trust each other. When you arrive, the getaway driver immediately parks in a secluded spot, with Kai still on the computer. You, me, and Danny all go in different directions. You're scared. You're in a dingy underground compound full of leaky pipes. You call over the radio that you're uneasy, and you don't get a response, because so are the rest of us. You think about how angry you are at Neela for making us short. You don't mention it, though, because you don't want to live angry. We called Danny, both of us, to ask about his position, but he's not responding. We're scared. We decide to meet up. Before we can, somebody grabs you. An old acquaintance of mine named Reynolds. Won't give you a first name because it doesn't matter. You'd never find him even if I did. Wasn't his real name. He puts a knife to your throat and drags you along the hallways, steadily bringing you closer and closer to Thomas. You think this is must be what happened to Danny. He got caught. If he's not dead, he's captured. And if he's captured, might as well be dead. You hear a radio go off above you. Reynolds stops. He asks who's there. No response. He pulls out a gun, dropping the knife, and puts it to your skull, threatening to shoot you if no one replies. So he gets a reply. He gets a very well-aimed shot in his leg. The bullet surprises him to such a degree where he releases you. Using your training, you flip him over your head and pull the gun away from him. But ever since what happened with Mr. Turner, you don't like guns. You quickly throw it away. From the rafters drops down a figure. Yours truly. I point a gun at him and ask where Mr. Black is, where Danny is. He laughs and says we're wasting our breath. So I kill him. You run to me and give me a hug. Frightened. I hug you back and I say it's going to be okay. That I'm going to find Danny alone. And of course, you being you, you tell me no. I look into your eyes and I thank you. Thank you for being by my side. I hug you again. We turn around to walk towards Mr. Black's lair together. And I strike you in the back of the head as hard as I can. You awake about an hour later, because Kai got out of her truck and came found you. The guy already sped off. She's in her wheelchair, so you still have to look after her, but you're thankful that she found you. After some searching, you find everybody. You find Danny, you find me, and you find Mr. Black. Only Mr. Black and I are standing side by side, and I have a gun to Danny's head. You demand to know what's going on, and I tell you that this was my plan from the beginning. That Mr. Black knew that you'd pull me out of prison. That it was always our plan to get back together when we were at our weakest. I give you one more opportunity to give me the code, or I kill Danny. To show you I'm serious, I tell you I want to play a game of 3 questions with Mr. Black. All of them are about the gun. I ask him what gun I'm holding, and he tells me. It was a Desert Eagle. That's all I'll tell you. And that kind of firepower is definitely enough to kill somebody at point blank, suffice to say. I ask him how many bullets are in the clip, and he tells me more than enough to finish all of you off. My third question is how painful it is to get shot in the knee. And before he can reply, I pull the gun from Danny's head and I shoot the bastard in the knee. He falls down, screaming in pain, bleeding. Danny stands to his feet. I help him up. He remarks that there was a part of him that thought that I had really changed sides. But everything went according to plan. The night before, Danny and I agreed that me playing the bad guy was absolutely the best way for us to go about this. We were not going to beat him head on. We had to deceive him the way he deceived us. His most powerful play was getting me to turn on you. I thought it was only fitting that our most powerful play against him was the same exact thing. He remarked how angry he was that we had lied. But we didn't care. He always told me that he was a lion in a world of lambs. Well, the lambs have found the lion, and they just didn't fear him anymore. I wondered who should kill him. Me. I was the most fitted. I was so used to pulling the trigger out of all of us. It would have felt like nothing to me, but that's why I didn't do it. Because it would have felt like nothing. Danny? Sure, why not? Danny was kind of the mastermind behind the whole thing. He deserved it. But he sure as hell didn't want it. You? No. After what happened with Mr. Turner, you didn't even want to look at a gun, let alone touch one or use it. But there was somebody in that room that did deserve it, that did want it, and that did have it in her. Kai. I handed Kai the gun, and she aimed at him. But she put it down. She said she couldn't do it. Thomas laughed at her, saying she was too soft, like the rest of her family. I put a hand on her shoulder and told her that I was with her. Danny did the same. And so did you. Kai gave a legendary speech that day, and I'll never forget what she said. It wasn't long, but I remember it. She looked at him, dead in the eye, and said, I have feared you, feared this day for so long, because of what you had done to me and my family. But when you took away my family, you should have taken all of it. You should have taken these 3 as well, because they are my family. Give my regards to the devil, you son of a bitch. And she shot him. Right in the head. And he never moved again. Shortly after, we were picked up by a helicopter. I don't know how the hell we got one, but I leave that to Danny. I had succeeded in my mission of helping them. Of killing Mr. Black. I no longer had a purpose in the real world. So as agreed, even though I wasn't at fault, I had to serve the rest of my sentence. I had 2 years. But, I can talk about that next time. We're almost done with this story anyway. Might as well stretch it out one last time, right? I got one last therapist appointment. Might as well just make one more tape. Look at that. It stopped raining.